I was told I suck. Hey everybody, Luxinda here. Welcome back to the loo. We are going to be doing what I talked about a few weeks ago after using the light tablet I got and copying these cute little kittens from a printout onto this watercolor paper. I have my Arteza watercolor pencils, which were in a Roy G. Biv. There we go. I went ahead and I colored most of this offline just to save you the... I know there are people who enjoy watching videos where the artist is just coloring or just painting and it's very relaxing and all that, but I'm not always sure about that in terms of people getting bored. I don't want that to happen. So I went ahead and I colored most of it. I saved this kitty for here on camera, and we are going to turn this into a rainbow kitty, which is why I have my Roy G. Biv here. These are really nice watercolor pencils. I will tell you, in fact, I'm going to tell you a story while I'm doing this. I don't do this very often either, but when I was a kid, I went to school in London. I was very lucky, and I went to an all-girls school, and I was in, I want to say I was in the 4th form. I was around 9 or 10 years old. I think that was equivalent to 5th grade here in the US, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong. If somebody knows, feel free to comment below what the equivalency between forms and grades. But it was around then. And one afternoon, I was the only Yank in the class, so that was already a standout, and not necessarily in any good way. And I'm very tall, so I stood out in other ways as well. It was very hard for me to stay subtle and unnoticed and off to the side, out of harm's way. So anyway, one day we were just sitting around class. I think it was like a homeroom or something, and we were to quietly entertain ourselves, not bother anybody. And I was sitting with a small group of girls, and we were each coloring in one part of a picture, I think. And we were using colored pencils, not watercolor pencils, just colored pencils. And I was apparently so bad at coloring with pencils. I got reamed out like you wouldn't believe, told how wrong I was doing it. Don't I know anything? Kind of stupid idiot was I, yeah. So I haven't actually used colored pencils since then. It was such a humiliating event. Then I said, that's it. I am never coloring with a pencil again as long as I live. And that was 1969 or 1970. So it has been a hot minute since I was told I suck at using colored pencils. I'm going to try it again. These are watercolor pencils, so somehow that makes it better. And I did okay here. I'm not going for realistic, obviously. We have a purple mouse, we have a pink and gray kitten, we have a purple kitten, now we're gonna have a rainbow kitten. There's nothing realistic about this at all. And that's okay. And if I could tell those girls that now, I would. I would tell them they were being a bunch of shits, and this is okay. So there. Now it's time to get some brushes and some water and some other stuff and come back and see what we can do with this. If I can get it to do anything. Stay tuned. All right, we're back. I have some water with some brushes. I got out these blender sticks. After the video where I created this copy using the light tablet, I heard from Ray over at Ray's Turquoise Turtle, and I'll link to her channel below. She said that in general she found these didn't work, but she thought the Goo Gone pen worked really well in terms of wetting and blending watercolor pencils. So I found one on Amazon. I don't have it at this moment, so that'll be a future video because I do want to try it out, but for now we're going to go with this and see what happens with regular water and with Gamsol, which is a mineral spirit. I'll put a little in a cup and try just using a brush and try the blender thingies. If you are a watercolor pencil artist, please be kind because I know I'm probably not doing anything right. And as you may have learned from my story, I think that's okay. I think anybody who tells you you have to follow the rules when you're just having a play, don't worry about it, okay? We're just gonna play. That's all this is. This is me getting to know colored pencils again because I had such a traumatic event with them in the first place that I stopped using them. So I'm trying to overcome that. Here we go. Just gonna see what happens when I put water on this. Oh, that's kind of cool. It does. It actually turns into watercolors. I like that. I am also not going to paint inside the lines, and it looks like my choice of the pen to do the copying with is going to run as well, and that's fine. I don't care. I really don't care. If this irritates you in any way because I'm not, being neat or precise or whatever, I can only apologize. right, let's see what happens. Before I switch to the Gamsol, or however it's pronounced, let's see what happens when I use one of these things. I believe this is just craft paper or newsprint rolled up super tightly. I think that's what these are. So they hold water like a newspaper would, soak it up. I'm guessing. They also get messy very quickly. I think I like using a brush better. I'm not a fan of that. If I were a precise artist and worrying about, you know, staying in the lines and all that sort of thing, then yes, these would be much safer than a brush that spreads out. I can see the appeal of this, I really can. But it's not really, it's not for me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm not terribly surprised to find that out, but I was curious. I can only imagine if the pen runs with water, it's really gonna run with mineral spirits, but you know, I still wanna see what happens. So let's do our rainbow kitty here. Actually, not as much. That's interesting. Makes it look kind of greasy. I guess it is. It's mineral spirits, not mineral oil. It's different, right? Mineral spirits, aren't they more like alcohol? It smells, well, it smells petroleum based, definitely. Actually, you know, that's really interesting. It doesn't make the black line bleed at all, but water does. I did not expect that. I thought it would be kind of the opposite, honestly. That's kind of neat. I'm not as crazy about the look. I like the watercolor look better. But in terms of not making all the black run, good to know. That's really neat. I'm very surprised. You're probably not supposed to use Gamsol like this either. It's probably supposed to be, you know, just very carefully dabbed on and not flooded the picture like I just did. That's okay. Not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna go back to watercolor. All right, so for my next project, well, actually, the next thing I want to try is a picture like this, but using the gouache watercolors I have, the gouache paint palette I have. And this artist, Diane Antone, did a whole did a whole video, and I will link to it below, on just creating rainbow strips. Basically, she was turning out like bookmarks, you know, long, thin strips, but it was all rainbow. It was beautiful. So I want to try that next time with the gouache. By the way, this is not the end of the video, even though I'm coming to the end of my picture here. There is one more thing I want to try, not in this particular setting. So if you want to jump ahead, if you're bored with this, that's fine. But we're going there next. So I like this. You know, it may be an embarrassment to everybody else, but I really like it. I could come back once it's completely dry and outline everything. I could do it in stickles. That would be awesome. But I could do it with a metallic marker. I think that would really zhuzh it up, you know? All right, I'm gonna put this aside and then pull this out. This was another thing I mentioned at the end of the light table or light tablet video as something I had and I wanted to try. You can get these on Amazon. I will link to everything below, of course. They are basically individual page watercolor cards. I think they're aimed at kids. If you have a kid, or if you want to do it yourself, like I do, you have a brush and some water and this, you're good to go. You could do this in the backseat of a car, on a plane trip. Might be a little messy. You need I would recommend a water brush, something like this, where the water's contained, except where it comes out on the brush. And then you wouldn't have, you know, cup of water possibly to spill, but otherwise, so pretty much you wet these spots as you want to use them, and then you use them to paint. Ta-da! That was a lot of fun. I can absolutely see this being appealing to kids. Definitely. And then they even have this made for a bookmark. When you take it out, it's perforated so that you can take the palette part off and you have a bookmark. That is adorable. And there's some, I picked this one because it looked like it had the most cute, oh, it even comes with its own brush. I didn't know that. Ready to go. It's ready to go. Extra palettes in the back, but the picture seems so adorable. And you know, obviously, whatever color you use for whichever part couldn't possibly matter with pictures like that. So yay! All right, I think we're done. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad I tried it. I'm fascinated by how this doesn't make the gel pen run, but plain old water does. That, to me, is the most interesting thing I found out today. But the watercolor pencils work beautifully. If I'd used a better black pen, this would be kind of pretty, but I like it. So, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed today's whatever it was. Me playing with watercolors. Me trying to see if I can overcome my childhood trauma when it comes to colored pencils. I think I did all right. So if there's any other aspect of this you want to see me try, if you want me to bring this back when it dries and, you know, outline in gold or something, if you want to see me try it with something else, and yes, I am going to get that Goo Gone pen just to see how it blends, because I'm curious, and we'll try the gouache, like I said. Let me know your thoughts. Stay safe, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.